Hello, everyone. Welcome to 5 Minute Uncut Conversations powered by HustleNHeels. Today we have Maria Fernandes with us, and we are shooting from New Orleans. Yes, not the regular Baltimore campus. So I met Maria today during one of the tours, and yes, and we have become friends, and we had a very nice dinner.
Yes, Thai food. Yay.
And she has agreed for this interview with us. And we are talking about empathy, compassion, and therapy.
Yes.
Yes, now we start the timer. Thank you so much. Thanks, Maria. So, Maria, you work as a medical interpreter,
Yes.
right? So, can you tell us something about your job?
Yes. It's a nice job, and I feel really good about helping people that cannot communicate in their own language. So I do Portuguese and Spanish interpreting at various hospitals in the New Orleans area. Mostly we work with the LCMC system, which includes Children's Hospital, and a lot of other hospitals in town, mainly children's. So I end up working with a lot of children.
Okay.
Like from newborns in the NICU to teenagers who are having behavior problems, and yeah, it takes a lot of compassion for the job. Yeah.
So, what do you think that, from our day to day life and not just day to day, like in your job, what kind of role does empathy play?
Uh, like you have to really understand, like the circumstances. To start with, like you have to understand karma. why, why a child is born with that condition? It's like one of my first questions when I think the first time I had to confront that situation. That like you have to have the empathy for the parents, for the doctors, for the nurses, all these people that give so much of themselves, to save a child, and sometimes you don't get to save that child. So I've had to not only interpret all of these diagnoses and test results and everything, but I've had to help people prepare funeral for their babies because they didn't know how to speak English. So yeah, I remember like sometimes I'll come home and have a hard time sleeping. You know, I remember one time I had to take a break, a vacation to see if I could really, because I was feeling I'm not grateful enough for my life. My three children that are so healthy, and these people just lost their baby today, and this particular lady had like a tube ligation before having this baby, so she could not have any more babies, and that was her dream.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's tough, but you learn a lot from it. Yeah.
It's a difficult job. Goosebumps too. Sorry, I'm trying to control myself.
Sorry, I didn't want to go that deep.
No, 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 not at all, not at all. So this is reality, right? We are humans, and if we don't feel what we are feeling right now, that wouldn't make us humans.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Sometimes I also think that, like the role of like motherhood takes a big part, like parenthood in general. Like I see all of these teenagers that have problems and, like behavior problems, and it's so easy these days for like these kids say that they wanna, end their lives, and for something, so sometimes it's not, you have to have a lot of empathy.
Yes.
And sometimes my job is just to interpret, but I want to change this, children's life somehow. And so, even though I'm only allowed to interpret, but I always like treat them with so much love and compassion that you end up having,
That connection.
a connection with them, no matter what. Sometimes, like after we speak, they look for me on Instagram and try to be my friends. I'm not allowed to do that,
Oh,
but I see, oh my gosh, I can feel that I cause an impact in this person's life.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what is the source of that empathy and compassion for you? Of course, you said motherhood, but then are there any life experiences or Has it played a real role in, becoming the person who you are right now?
I think that, nothing more than so many years, life itself teaches that way. But I think I've always been that kind of person. And, like, like also being a Buddhist, like I am. So we learn a lot about compassion and also like seeing that everybody has a Buddha nature, or in that case, like there is no blaming, no judging, no complaining in this practice. So you learn a lot about that. But I've always been like that. I think my parents are very compassionate people,
And you're from Brazil, right?
from Brazil. Brazilians in general are also very, very good people. They
Compassionate.
like compassionate. They embrace people. They like we just met today.
Yes.
And now we're here. We had dinner.
Yes,
We
yes.
trust people. It's very different. It's like cultural, probably. But I think that for the situation at my work right now, I think this is the empathy that you gain from just years of like doing this and trying to understand people's circumstances and always without blaming, without judging. It's
Yes,
hard, but
yes.
it's human nature to judge,
Yes.
and I had to learn not to be like
Not
that.
to judge. And then, what are your views about therapy?
Um, Therapy in general, I think it's like so important. Yeah. And today I do therapy once a week, and I'm trying to teach that to my children too. We've, when we live in New Orleans, we went through Hurricane Katrina, for instance, and they had to do a couple of years of therapy because it was a big, big trauma.
Yes.
I got a divorce, there was another trauma for them. So my family is totally open about therapy, and I just wish everybody else was, because it's so important to kind of expose your feelings, to somebody. Sometimes just to get it out yourself if you don't want to have a therapy, but like talk to a friend or
Yes,
somebody
yes.
that can listen. Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised that it's not yet 5 minutes. Can we just check? Because
Oh, maybe. I wonder if
I just checked that how many minutes we talked for.
it was 7.
Yes, it's fine. It's fine. I don't think anybody would mind that we went some few minutes over, but that's fine. But then, no, that's completely all right. This was a wonderful conversation, and I don't think I would have got, impromptu a better person to talk about empathy and compassion than a person who is practicing it themselves, not just with their patients, but for themselves too. So I think our audience is going to connect with, empathy, compassion, and therapy. Thank you so much, Maria, for talking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you.